Intellectually engaging to think outside the lines with conversation about the nation that never leaves you blind. Take a listen and pay attention. Here is where you find the educational, sensational meeting of the minds. Yeah, it's the meeting of the minds. Meeting of the minds.
Take 80.
Thank you for watching Meeting in the Minds. This is Take 80 because my guests are off the chain. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in via YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, don't forget to hit the subscribe button or rate us. Also, feel free to visit www.meetingoftheminds.com, where if you feel like being a guest, if you feel like being a desk, if you feel like being a guest, you can fill out our guest questionnaire and possibly be a guest on the show if you wanted to do that. And also, if you have a topic idea, you could also go on there if you'd like to fill out maybe a topic that you could see us discuss on Meeting of the Minds. Oh, such a mouthful. It took us forever to get there, but we're there now. So let me introduce my guest to you now. So first, I would like to okay, I just can't talk today. I would like to introduce God's poet to you. Thank you very much. Hello, Ms. Dora Robinson. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Ms. Dora Robinson is a poet in the Austin community, and she is also a KAZI personality. And she, what days do you have your radio show?
I do the Monday night Quiet Storm from 9 to midnight, and I also do Friday mornings 10 to noon. It's the Juice and Jam, the Friday edition.
So there you go. That is the face of Quiet Storm, ladies and gentlemen. So also with us today we have Jen. Jen, say your last name for me, please.
Rangapai.
And what is that? What is the nationality or the what is it?
My father was born in Thailand and he came over here.
Really? I've always wanted to know that because I thought you were going to be like, I'm Middle Eastern, and I'm like, you're my lost cousin. But technically, we're all related. So, yes. All right, awesome. I always wanted to know that. Jen is a person who puts together different things going on at the Carver programming for youth and different events. Are you still doing?
I actually left the Carver in September, so I consider myself a creator and a bridge builder, and I find myself traditionally working in spaces that are community centered, usually in education, marketing, public information. So.
Nice. Well, you did great work at the Carver, and you put it together great programming there. Thank you so much for those programming that you brought. I know I came over there and worked with you guys for a while, and I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot. Now, Scott Free. Scott Free has been on the show before. He is also a poet. If you have not seen our speed debating edition, one day we had a lot of things go awry on the show. We just decided we were going to go with a segment called Speed Debating. It's actually one of my favorite segments that I think we've done yet. And so we just did a whole bunch of topics back to back to back to back, and me and Scott Free face off in the battle till death.
And I won.
Is that what you did?
I won.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, somebody had to.
I think y'all are going to have to go watch that episode and say for yourselves.
Is that a call to action?
That's a call to action. It's a suggestion that I said I think you might have to. Okay. While you trying to get me in trouble on my own show. Okay. Next, but definitely, last but definitely not least, is DJ Slice from KAZI.
What up with it? How you doing?
And you all are going to, actually we announced it over the radio, but this is going to be the second place that we announce it. I am now DJ Slice co-host for Midnight Madness on midnight Wednesdays.
Wednesday night. That means tonight when we leave here,
we're going to be on the air.
And you better not be late.
Oh, you see that? You see that? Everybody out on the show trying to call me out on air because we on air and they just want to look like, they calling people out and stuff. But it's okay.
I didn't say anything.
No. That's because to let the Lord use you, Dora. Let these heathens, you see how they do me? But so midnight Wednesday nights, that's where we'll be, and I'm going to be calling some of y'all to come join us and hang out with us on air. So so that's a new venture going on with me and DJ Slice, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. All right, so let's jump in. Shall we?
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
So,
open the floodgates.
Right. So was actually today. I was online, and I was scrolling, and one scroll came up, and somebody was clowning Michael Jackson, like the things going on with Michael, right? And I literally scrolled the next post. Somebody was clowning Kelly, R. Kelly, and then I scrolled the next post, and right after that, somebody was clowning Jesse, and it was back to back to back. And for me, you know how I am. Things don't. I'm touching my mic. Sorry about that. I say, okay, what is this about? And I looked at it, and I was like, back to back to back, I have these posts, and it made me feel a certain kind of way. And a lot of emotions came up for me. And it's strange because we had already picked public scrutiny as our topic. And then for the post to come up congruently like that, it invoked just the precise right emotions for this conversation to happen right now. So
Algorithms is real.
You know, to be discussed on another meeting of the minds. Man, okay, you just said a mouthful right there. Do y'all know what I'm talking about when I say like clowning and stuff like that? Like, what's right, what's wrong? Like, where's the line when if somebody does something like really foul, like how much jokes can we really make about it? What's appropriate, what's not? Yeah.
The internet is undefeated. The internet is undefeated.
Unforgiving.
I think the biggest issue is if you do something, let's say Jesse, because I mean,
He lied.
here's my point.
Hold on.
Here's the point. When you make that big of a blunder, you open yourself up to the bigger the joke.
Yeah.
I mean, if one of us in here stubs our toe, you'd be like, for a second, and it's over with. Now, if one of us comes in here and let's just say claims to be, I come in and say I'm Puerto Rican and I'm black, and I'm not, and I'm black. Oh, the scrutiny is going to be huge because that's a bigger blunder. So, in a sense, it's kind of like, where do you draw the line with how big was the blunder?
Oh,
So-
he deserved it. Jesse did. He lied. Period. Point blank. For publicity.
See, guys, hold on. Is everyone in that stance right there?
I'm the type of person that I really don't try to have an opinion on a lot of that stuff that comes up, and that's why I don't keep up with a lot of it, because
Yeah.
people want to have conversations about it, and I know that I don't ever know what's going on. Like, I
Yeah.
don't. We might think we know what's going on. We're fed a certain amount of information, and it's only from certain sides, and so I never have enough to even want to have an opinion. So I just keep, like, let everybody...
Stay neutral.
I might feel some way about it, whether that matters or not. I don't feel the need to like express it and talk about it with people. So,
And the reasoning for that was, why do you feel it's not the need?
well, I don't know if there's really any reasoning about it. It's just like I don't know enough information.
Okay, that was what I wanted to make sure that I heard you say about it, that you don't know if you have enough information to really comment on it.
And really, it's somebody's life. So, I mean, there's so much variables in that. Like, I don't really try to have opinions like that, I guess.
That's a very healthy way of thinking. I don't think that the American public is there yet. So, but it's also true at the same time. We'll get back to you, Scott Free, and your opinion on that. I love this contrast right here of statements. And everything has balance. So we'll go back here. Dora, any thoughts yet?
You know what? I really can't speak a whole lot on it either, because I don't put myself in that position to have a lot, just like she said, because it's not healthy for me. I'm really upbeat, and I'm really serious about life, and I'm really opinionated. But some things are harmful to you. And if you attach yourself or let those things attach to you, it can put you in a really bad place. I'm older now, I'm 53 years old. So there's a lot of things that I've heard about Jesse through other people.
Yep.
Wow.
Through other people. And then that's when I was, what the hell is everybody talking about? Because I don't watch the news. I don't,
You filter it.
I filter it.
Because you'll take it on.
I will take it on because I have anger issues. And when the world is going in the way that it's going, it pisses me off, and it hurts me that people are hurting people the way that they're hurting them. And to me, it's like, I'm sure he didn't wake up that morning saying, I'm going to do this, but knowingly he was going to get caught in that lie and what it was going to bring on. Because that's crazy.
So I have a bigger bigger problem than all of you because I'm a conspiracy theorist by heart, right? And so the problem, I think, is that we put somebody through the court of public opinion, right?
Right.
And here's the thing, as a conspiracy theorist, you gotta understand, like, let's take somebody like Sam Cooke, for example, okay? So with Sam Cooke, they say that, you know, he was at a bar and he met a woman, and he and the woman were talking, and they went back to a telly, and supposedly he tried to rape her, and she ran out of there with his pants, and that he went looking for her and went to the wrong room, to the hotel manager's room, and ran in there and tried to find her in there, and she blasted him. Okay?
Yeah.
These are testimony. This is testimony. This is people, witnesses and everything, right? But then there's a flip side to it. And it's like, okay, the woman ended up being a prostitute. She's a prostitute, which, I'm not on prostitutes, straight up. But I'm just saying she was willing to do stuff for money. You know what I'm saying? And that's something to put a note on. You know, it doesn't mean she's a bad person, you know, but okay. And then it turned out that the hotel lady was friends with the mob, right? And had ties with the mob. And then we all know earlier that day, Sam Cooke was trying to get, you know, y'all saw that. Sam Cooke was trying to get out of a sorry deal that they had just did with him with a gentleman, right? I'm not gonna say no names, but you can go and look into this stuff. And so this is during, so Sam Cooke wasn't just a musician. Sam Cooke was doing
was political.
He was linked, you know, he was linked to Malcolm. He was linked to Muhammad Ali. And so when I see these things and I watch these things, I'm saying to myself, like, you could have testimony on people, and people could be like, we brought in evidence and the corroborating, and it still possibly be something to it. And it kind of frightens me a little bit. It only frightens me this much, not enough to make me stop anything. Like, it doesn't frighten me enough to be like, I'm not gonna do what I gotta do, but it still puts a thing in my mind like, yo, they could just make something up on you and the entire public is going to turn on you.
Absolutely.
Well,
That's some scary stuff.
That happens all the time.
Well, what if the new assassination isn't with the gat, but it's your character?
That's exactly what it is. Because now,
I'm scared, guys.
because now, all you have to do is make a rumor about somebody, and then that rumor, tell it to a group of people, and now that's
Tell it to the right person.
that's what it is, and then that's your character.
Yeah.
Okay, and then take Jesse for example.
Right.
He said he was beaten up.
Right.
He was doused with bleach.
Right.
He was a noose was put around his neck.
Right.
Racial slurs or gender slurs were hurled at him, and he filed a police report. Now, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous precedent in itself, because A, you've just filed a police report on everything that's wrong with the country. Everything that's wrong.
That's
with the
what
country.
makes me so like, wait, y'all. Wait, hold on, you know?
Okay, the police did an investigation. At the beginning of the story, me personally, I sat back and said, okay, I got to find out exactly what's going on. Let me give it time. And after time goes on and it gets picked up by major newspapers and major publications, then we find out he lied. The people that beat him up, he paid for.
Wait. So the check ended up saying on it for like gym and nutrition or something like 5 weeks of nutrition for them to train him.
Training.
So
he paid the guys to beat him up.
I mean, well, that's the thing. It hasn't been evidence yet. Like, that's the thing. It hasn't been yet. They did, but I could pay some. We had testimony in Sam Cooke's thing. They testified and said that Sam Cooke tried to rape her, and I just don't think so. Forgive me, but you have a whole plethora of stuff, people that said, that's not Selah's character. I meant to say Sam Cooke. And so you had a whole bunch of people who said that Sam Cooke would never, ever, ever do that. And there was somebody testifying. So I'm not saying Jesse didn't do it. I'm not saying. There's a lot of stuff on the table that looks suspect. But when it's I was about to say when it's MAGA hats. When it's, okay, like the Chicago Police Department is not notorious for being honest. That's all I'm saying.
Is any police department notorious for being honest?
I think whenever we're talking about rumors and things like that, you have to remember that, I mean, a lie makes its way halfway around the world before the truth puts its shoes on.
Exactly.
So, and it's always more interesting. A lie is always going to be more interesting than the truth. Even if the truth resembles a lie, you're going to be like, nah, it's not. No, there's no way. What I've done, and I respect you guys' opinion. You know, I remember when maybe more than 10 years ago, the the men's Duke lacrosse team was accused of raping a black stripper. And when the story first came out, myself included, we condemned
all of them.
All of them. Those white boys raped that black girl, and we condemned them.
Yeah.
Maybe a week later, it turned out that she was lying, and there was zero evidence of that whatsoever. At that moment in my life, I said, I will never come out and have an opinion about someone or something before I hear all the facts.
Exactly.
So when it comes to Jesse, I have an opinion on him, but there's not enough to come out for me to stand concrete on my opinion. Now, when it comes to something like, you know, when I hear about somebody's character, well, give me more information about this person, because when we say Sam Cooke would never have done this, well, you got to understand there's something called front stage and backstage. What we're doing right now is front stage. Okay, this is not how we behave when we're by ourselves.
So true.
But when we're by ourselves, and not just by ourselves, I mean, front stage is at work with your friends, with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever you with, and then by yourself. Even the closest person to you doesn't see all the way you. So when you talk about Sam Cooke couldn't have, I'm gonna tell you, Sam Cooke probably could have.
Probably did.
While the
Maybe
lady is giving her testimony, Sam Cooke's wife is in the background going.
Right.
All his best friends say he didn't have an aggressive behavior like that. Like, okay, right now, if somebody came to y'all and made some allegations about me, certain allegations, y'all will be like, yo, I'm like 90% sure that's not Selah. Like, there's always room for that.
It depends on what it is.
Does depend on who you are.
If I heard you smack somebody talking bad about God, I'd be like, yeah,
that's a possibility, right?
Right.
But if they said I ran up on them to try to kill him for some
crack.
There you go. Like, yeah, like that. You'd be like,
I was gonna say
and they sprinkle some crack on me, right? And they sprinkle some crack on me, like, there might be a problem right there. So I'm not saying it didn't happen. It's just that we're looking at a time that they removed all the leaders, plucked them. Anybody that was doing anything, and that causes like a little bit of concern for me. So now let's just say he did it. All right, let's now turn and just say he done did it, right? Now I start to look at it at like the public's reaction. Are we morally okay with pushing somebody?
That word moral.
Such a tricky thing. Like someone who does something like that obviously has something wrong, whether it's they're looking for attention, whether there's something going on there that needs to be addressed. Maybe there's a deficiency, there's something. So instead we like, you know, oh, you loser, Jesse done humiliated the whole population, right? I mean, we could push somebody to kill themselves rather than saying, oh man, you know, we're praying for you and I don't know what made you think that way. So it's like two different things. But then I have the comedian in my heart too. And sometimes I want to bust a joke, like here and there.
To.
So where can we find a little bit of...
Jokes are for self-reflect. You're going to laugh. Ha, 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 it's funny. But then you're going to think. And it's at that moment when you reflect is your choice to make that change or continue on your path.
Yeah.
That's when you do. But the jokes are just to bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
Because had anybody had said anything about just like no media coverage, it would have just been him with a temper tantrum and okay, you had a temper tantrum going about your business, and here he is doing it again to get attention, and here he is doing it again to get attention, here he is doing it again to get it, and then it escalates and it builds, and finally He's on the top of the Empire State Building talking about, if you don't give me $100 million, I'm going to jump. Ah.
Wait, are we talking about Donald Trump or just the hair?
Can we please not talk about that?
Wait, I just got confused
But
for a second. I'm sorry. See, bad jokes.
The
Bad jokes on people that got
path, the psychological path that these people are on need to be called out.
What do you think, Laura?
And I believe, well, this is what I believe. And then there's a responsibility and accountability for each person as an individual to even, you have to put the I factor in everything that we have a judgment against. Because we're easy to judge other people, but how many times do we judge ourselves? How many times do you really take a really good look at yourself while you're calling out somebody else about whatever lie they've said? We say it in such a way with so much passion, like we've never lied. Or it's just like death, we want to rate it.
Yeah.
How you die, oh, that's terrible, she died in her sleep, or it doesn't matter. Damn, if you get shot in your damn head and die, you still dead, right? We want to make all these different levels. It is what it is. So if you're lying, most people who lie hate liars.
Yes.
Ain't that ironic?
Hate liars, can't see why they would lie. Some people are habitual liars. They don't even recognize that they lie because they believe their lies, first of all. Because really in the lie, anybody that tells any lie, right? Lying is just like denial. Don't even know I am lying. But you have people who are liars that you know in your life that will lie with you in the room, knowing that they're lying, but they'll still say the lie because they know that you most likely are not going to stand up and say, that's a lie.
Yeah. They won't check.
And most of us don't.
Won't check the people.
We'll talk to somebody else and say, "Now she was just sitting up and lying her ass off."
But won't address.
But we won't address the person.
Situation.
Well, I mean, even if you say you're lying and you know the person, it's still not going to actually change the fact that they're going to continue with that. Even if I say, "Oh, I know you're lying," and then it's going to keep on moving. You know what I mean?
That
like,
all depends on how you call them out. If it's like, we know you lied, ha ha ha. You're going about your business. But if I make a grandstand big deal, this liar, like the social media does, boom, all day long, he's lying. He's lying. Okay, Jesse's going to think twice about saying another lie based on the experience he just got through going through. Because we called him out.
It doesn't always happen like this. You
Well,
can push
you're
the wrong
right,
button.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is that my propensity is to heal the person, and sometimes exposing them damages them even more. So like going to, instead of being like, yo, this fool done lied. Like I've had somebody steal from me, and instead of putting them on blast and being like, this person stole from me, I went and I was like, yo, I want you to know that I know that you stole from me, but you must have needed it more than me. And so I was like, so like that, they ended up cutting for me more than anybody in this world. Like they ended up being the type of person that if you mess with Sayla, I will kill you type of person. And it's all because you cover them, right? So if somebody's like a lie, right? I'm wondering if we should pull them to the side, like Ms. Dora's saying, kind of, and be like, why do you lie, babe? Like, why?
There's a reason for people to lie, though. Like she was saying, people lie for a reason.
Different reasons.
We don't tell people the truth all the time because, let's be,
Most of us lie to ourselves.
No pun intended.
Some people
but
can handle it.
sometimes, you can't go around telling the truth all the time, but somebody's going to say, what's wrong with that person? But I'm telling the truth. It's like what we see in the movies and what happens in real life are two different things. In the movies, you should always tell the truth.
Yeah.
Honesty is the best policy, no matter what you tell me the truth.
Well,
let me live my life and tell the truth. You'll lose your job. You will lose your job, and you probably lose your relationship, and you'll alienate everybody from you except for the weirdo that likes to hear the truth all the time. So when you cast aspersions at people who are telling lies, when you cast aspersions at people who are telling lies, we're saying that they're morally corrupt. But you have to remember that morals are simply what we find acceptable at that time, at that point in time. You know, if he goes home, gets drunk, and beats it, and slaps his wife, today that's morally wrong. 300 years ago,
it was accepted.
It was very acceptable, not only by men but by women as well. Well, sometimes the man comes home and He puts his hands on me. That's just what it is. I shouldn't have got in his way. So when we talk about morals, it's like that's just what we find okay now. Because in 10 years, what we find morally corrupt or morally acceptable, it's going to change.
Yeah, I do believe that there are a set of morals that are evolving, but I also believe that there are some that are not. But that's for another meeting of the minds. Back to you, DJ Slide.
You gonna slap that down and just leave it alone? Okay.
But no, I do agree with you. There are morals that do change with culture.
At one point in time, it was morally correct to do anything that we find morally wrong right now. At some point in time, it was okay to do it.
Was one of them.
But there are some things that I believe. Slavery still exists. It's just a different terminology. But there are some morals that I believe like are always wrong, no matter what, and your body gives it away. Like I've talked about this before. Like even if you are a pathological liar, if you get on a lie detector test, your body will give you away. So like there's things that we know we're deceiving someone. So like if I go to steal something from Miss Dora, my heartbeat, even if I don't think stealing is wrong, in my mind, my body will give me away. I feel like there are some things that are innate. Like for example, if you two were two kids and you are like 3 years old and I gave you 10 pieces of candy and I gave DJ Slice only one, Slice is gonna be like, why are you giving him 10 pieces of candy? There's this innate kind of feeling of justice that no one has to tell me. It's like, that's not going to change for you that he only got one piece of candy and you only got, that's not going to be morally different. But all the other things you listed definitely changed throughout. So I just feel like there are a few, like the 10 Commandments, that are like kind of just always like that.
But what if you are lying for a good reason? You see, now where do we stand now?
No. That happens, actually.
Grandma comes in.
That happens,
I'll give
actually.
you a prime example.
But it doesn't mean that we
by
should.
telling your kids that there's Santa Claus.
Oh, man.
There's so many examples.
Or the Easter Bunny.
That's a lie.
That's a straight lie that's been years, generations, thousands of years.
And there's been parents who teach their children to lie. They don't look at it like that, but anytime that any parent says don't lie, tell their kids not to lie. But if somebody calls for them, then they tell the kid to tell them that they're
here.
now, you just told your kid to lie for you. And now you expect them to have the moral compass to say, I can lie at this time, but this time I don't.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And then you wonder why when they get teenagers and they're wondering, but they're seeing the real you. They ain't lost their mind.
Yeah.
They're seeing the real you. You're not the God that they believed you to be when they're younger. You get older, they see your flaws.
Yeah.
You taught them your flaws. You taught them.
You inbred it.
You told them to tell that lie.
You know,
Yeah.
So
like
now they learn that behavior, and it's a behavior then.
Well, it becomes a lifestyle, right? That I can live one way and say something else.
Yeah.
In general, like and then we find out later on through living and experience that, oh my gosh, they lied to us in school, they lied to us here, they lied to us there, lied to us here, there, and everywhere. And so it kind of brings me back to what you had mentioned. Well, I need more information on this person. Well, how long do you need to really get it? Because we look back and don't even know that we were lied to until we've gone through a certain amount of experience. So that same thing can happen like just in our day-to-day lives, or like we were talking about, okay, high profile people going through this scrutiny or whatever, but I need more information in their character, all this stuff that happens every day in our community.
Yeah.
Just like you're afraid, okay, well, if somebody just really wants to hate on you and destroy your character, it's not hard to do. We all know how to do it. You even mentioned, you tell the right person. I learned that early on. If I wanted to hurt somebody, you would just have to like tell the right person the wrong thing, and then you could just watch it. You could just watch it. And it's about making that decision for yourself, whether you want to be that and perpetuate that on a grander scale, because if I do it, that's just contributing to what society is going through. And so you were talking about holding space like for healing, for like these people going through that, or maybe they're going through the scrutiny. It's like, how do you do that in your day-to-day life with just the people that this whole thing, this whole trend of like, oh, I cut people off and my boundaries and this and that and the other. Yeah. But those people that you cut off in your life, like, they need love too. They need space too. They need understanding too. And you're missing out on a growth moment. Now, of course, healthy, unhealthy, but as you pull yourself back, you're able to see that. Exactly. So it's like we've been taught to live in outside of our authenticity.
Right.
already.
Right.
So then when it comes to stuff like this, people are so quick to point the finger because they don't have, it's easier to point the finger than it is to really go inside and say, oh, well, how does this reflect in my life? It's not like people are like looking at all these people going through this in the news and be like, well, how does that affect me? Where is this in my life? Like right. And so for me, I'm the type of person that does that. It didn't just happen overnight, but that's one of the reasons I separate myself. It's like, okay, this person is going through that. What if it was me? Now, I don't do these things, but what if it was me? What would I need in that moment?
You must be an empathetic person, though.
Yeah.
That's a person that can do that.
Well,
That's what we're
now let
lacking
me
a
ask
lot of
this
is
question.
empathetic.
When is a person's morals really their morals? If you can slip here and
Not
make
there.
up here,
Right.
when is there a ground?
Yeah.
When is there ground zero that line?
So we're gonna have to have a whole nother meeting of the minds called morals. Like completely, totally. But I will say that you're right. Both of you are right. Like if right now they were looking for you guys and they came and said, are they here? I'm be like, nah, they ain't here. And y'all might be hiding right behind, the thing. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know. And I know that's going to be my answer. It's going to be I know that's going to be my answer. I don't know nothing, right?
Right.
So then.
That's because you had empathy for us. And
Right, but it still would be a lie.
You're right.
And so
but-
morals got to be saved for a rainy day. But go ahead.
Forget morals. But we pretend as if children learn to lie. No, we lie young as young as age 1. Children lie. As young as age 1. We don't teach babies crying for no reason. My son at times wouldn't let me, I would hold him, and if I sat down, he would start crying. I would stand up and he would stop. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this with you.
Oh,
he's making it seem, he's making it seem as if he needs me to stand up with me. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need that at all.
It's manipulation.
It's manipulation. We teach them how to tell, we teach them how to tell the truth. We don't teach them how to lie. We teach them how to tell the truth. So when we tell lies, nobody taught us that. It's in us. Since you're talking about being innate, lying is innate in us.
Guilty, like Doris says, and it's one of us got caught with their pants down.
Oh, wow.
Why do you think it's so easy for us to catch somebody lying? Because we do it so much.
Oh yeah.
It takes a liar to know a lie.
Which one of you said that we hate the person that lies the most? It's crazy. We hate the person that does what we do, but if it's not our issue, we don't even care, right? Like we would be like, oh, I don't even care that they do that thing because it's not our issue.
Until it affects us.
Until it affects you. But if you're that type of being. But if you're really a person who cares about humanity, and that's what we need is people who care about humanity.
Yes.
Like we got to give a damn about humanity.
About each other.
Because you got a lot of humans running around here that are not acting like humans.
Yeah.
You got animals that got more common damn sense.
Come on, Dora.
It's just ridiculous. Like,
Chihuahua at home, that's better
the
than
one, I still think we should be able to tell jokes, right? But the way that I gauge it, this is how I gauge it, okay?
Oh, Lord.
So, like, if you ever been on a stoop in New York or on the East Coast, like, they will go in on each other.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, they will go after the jugular, the thing that hurts you the most. They're coming for that, right?
It was always your mama joke.
My jokes, they're not the ones that actually land. Like, they're the ones that kind of go like this, but enough for you to, like, see a moral point. Like, it would never really harm you. It'll only be enough for you to be like, dang, yeah, I did that. Like, I do that with kids too. Like, I'll clown them in a way that makes them see their thing and laugh too. But I wouldn't say it to hurt them or bruise their ego. So that's like my guiding light. I'm not saying I always get it right, because no. But that's what I try. That's like what I'm aiming for. But I realize that everybody else isn't trying to do that. And so I'm concerned a little bit about that because I don't want... Jussie, if you haven't gone back and look at the things that he's been involved in some stuff. Like, he went on MTV and said that that black cops killing black men is a national security issue. Like, he's done some stuff, right? And I went to HT, like I was saying before, and we kind of studied the civil rights, so we were talking about that.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Malcolm X said, be careful because the media will have you looking at the person oppressed like they're the enemy, and the person doing the oppression like they're the innocent one.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I want people to be slower, because we will mess around and convict and throw away people that maybe don't need to be thrown away, maybe need a little bit of help, or maybe weren't even doing anything at all, but they're learning exactly how they can take someone out.
Yeah. Well, what perpetuated this whole thing is that he has a platform. He has a platform where many people know him, where otherwise a person, John down the street, said the same thing.
And didn't even get hurt.
And didn't get hurt. Because nobody knows him. It's only perpetuated because he's on a platform, and they're going to come after him or anybody else.
That's good.
They're coming after anybody else, anybody that is going to speak about righteousness, anybody that's speaking about inclusiveness of people. It's going to be a problem, because you got these right wingers, or whatever you want to call them, these bigots, whatever, that want power, want to keep the power that's so not even power. You know, they're bullies. They're doing everything. Why do we have laws in place? This is going on a whole nother. Why do we have laws in place when our government can turn around and change the laws to fit themselves?
Yeah.
We ought to have a problem with that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about lying.
Same thing. It's same thing.
Lying.
We have a president that lies like people take baths.
Every 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes, this guy is shooting a lie.
But isn't there a certain hypocrisy to this, though? See, this is the thing that kills me.
Every 20 minutes.
I always think that there's a huge level of hypocrisy, even when we talk all the time. Whenever someone does something, there's a huge level of hypocrisy. You know, when we talk about, the politics, there's the liberals and the conservatives fight temporary battles for decades, and it does nothing different. Speaking of HT,
Holla! Ram, shout out.
My senior project, like I'm doing this project on resistance, and I'm looking at these old newspaper articles from the 70s. We are literally still fighting the same battles from the 70s.
Same.
The very same.
It's not getting any better.
Same.
And we're looking at one political side and saying that's the problem. Well, you didn't do anything either. You didn't help me. There's a big difference between being free and being independent.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We're free right now.
Absolutely.
No one's telling us what to do and where to go for the most point. However, we're not independent because we need someone else to pay us money, which isn't enough, to live in an area that is overpriced.
Right.
I mean, so when we talk about who's right and who's wrong, there's hypocrisy to go around. So when we criticize somebody, it's always like, do we not criticize at all? Because none of us are perfect. So do you not criticize at all?
And then you just let it run rampant?
And then you just let it run rampant? So where do we draw the line between let me not say anything because I'm messed up too, to, hey, we all need to do better? Where do we draw that line?
I try my best. I literally do this with almost everybody. I have a feeling you do too, Dora. I close my eyes and try to envision a reason to empathize with them, right? So watch this. I'm gonna show y'all something, right? I'm gonna make the music that happens when we go in the dream world. Right?
Okay.
I'm gonna give you another scenario, right? So homeboy Jesse, right, goes throughout his life, and in real life, everywhere he goes, people are like, "Yo, Empire."
Yeah.
Okay? In real life, everywhere he goes. And in real life, everywhere he goes, people say things about him being gay. Yo, you little. Okay? And it really happens in real life. And he might be thinking to himself, you know what? I'm getting a lot of momentum with this activist thing right now. And this really happens to me down on the down low anyways. Maybe I'll stage something to get this ball rolling on being active on it. Because if I just say somebody called me a homo, and if I say somebody called me Empire, nobody's gonna really do anything. But if I make it climactical, then maybe somebody will do about it. And then he's like, oops, dang. But what I'm trying to show people is that things are so multifaceted. The reason why most people aren't doing things out of maliciousness.
It's out of selfishness, though.
It's not a malicious intent, though. But it's the intent might not have been malicious. Maybe in his mind he was like, "I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna set it off, and we're gonna start the revolution." Like maybe in his mind, like, well, but there's not empathy
He
for
should have
that.
sat down and thought for like 10 more minutes.
Yeah,
or something.
five. If he did.
You needed to finish that glass of wine that you said down.
Because we're
quick.
so he was driven from, so he could have been driven so much to motivate something that you just didn't think of the other side of it.
Yeah.
Or the negative impact, because
I'm glad I try to think all the way around.
Right. Well, I mean, because like you would
momentum
lose so
always
much.
swings
But that's
back.
another thing that starts making me think like that. Maybe they set him up with that is because, like, dang, that's a lot to risk.
How they set him up in his own lie, though?
So,
He lied.
all right.
we got the reality, or is this another dream?
Is this another dream?
So they sent the Nigerians, right? And they already knew that he was working with the Nigerians, right? And then they were like, yo, we're going to pay. Because, look, the Nigerians aren't getting locked up. And anytime somebody don't get locked up in a scenario, you got me looking at you side-eye, bro.
Anytime a black person
Is not
locked
getting.
up. Let's reiterate.
Okay,
that.
so a little bit already. I'm like, so they're not being charged with nothing?
And they were suspects.
Well, they said that
So then that makes me
they were interrogated, and then they let them go, and they said immediately these are not the guys that we're looking for. So they knew pretty quick that there was something fishy going on. There was some tuna going on around
Now, let's revert back.
He said
This grown man
It's fishy.
who been making hundred thousands of dollars that us normal people don't make for episodes, all right, stage this type of incident.
And they said it was because he wasn't happy with how much money he was making.
But he was making $125,000.
That's what I'm saying, but that's what they said.
Hey, Latrell Sprewell said he couldn't feed his family with like $13 million. So our idea about what it takes to be, our idea of what broke and rich are is completely different than what they think. If Bill Gates found $100,000 in his bank account, he commits suicide.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesse getting paid $100,000 doesn't mean that his life was swell.
100,000 episode.
Even
and
if he made $1
Empire
million
came
an
out and
episode.
said that wasn't true. Like the show was like Jesse was not upset with how much money he was making.
So until Jesse comes out and says, "I did this for this," I can't say why he did it.
Right. Oh, okay.
I can't say
We're not
why he
doing-
did
then
it.
we're not doing that. I do
But is
that
it
so that I
still
could
alive?
find empathy with somebody.
Well,
you know?
is it still alive? Is it still alive?
Oh
There's
yeah,
some
it's still
fabrication
alive. But
going on.
when you find out the motive, like the motive wasn't to gain popularity. Maybe the motive was to bring light to an issue that was really bugging him day in and day out.
Motives don't
But it
make
wouldn't
lies good.
work. You know, like if I went and I was like, yo, I went to Starbucks and somebody under his breath was like, yo,
Well, he got the
gay
moonlight
slur.
on his ass now.
Yeah.
you know.
He got a light.
And
Hey, maybe that's what he wanted.
and they cut him from the
No,
show.
he
How
didn't
do
want to
we,
get caught
how do
with
we know
this.
that this isn't exactly what he wanted?
They know this is not. What
That is
anybody-
a-
who would
Any
want
any
this?
press is good press.
No.
You know, now that you said that,
Ask
It's
Michael
over
Jackson.
for
that
him.
could
Ask
be
Michael
what he
Jackson.
wanted. He could have wanted out of the contract
Wow.
and did something to get out
Maybe
of
he
the
wanted.
contract.
We don't know.
I hear
Or
this guy.
my theory is
Please, I love conspiracy theories.
he's about to drop an album. And what better way to get your sales
Who,
up?
Michael? Let's not get
Jesse.
started with that. Oh,
Jesse is about to drop an album.
was he?
He says he's saying, you know.
Oh,
Publicity.
yeah. Oh, got it. Oh,
What's the
got it.
better way to get
It's
your numbers
working
up?
for Kanye. I'm not even gonna lie about that.
But you got to remember.
Many of them.
Right.
And
it
he's
doesn't
singing on
matter.
TV, and he has a pivotal character on the show. It's very
But
controversial.
at this point, you have like the entire black and gay community hating you. I don't know if that's a good trade-off.
Let me tell you
And how
something.
much
They
a
are
percentage?
not going to give up on him. Did we give up on R. Kelly?
Nope.
I hope not.
And that was worse than we knew about it. There are people still to this day.
You give up on Bill?
Somebody on my Facebook page, I'm not saying your name, but somebody on Facebook today were like, I'm backing R. Kelly no matter what. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me right now? He deserves to be in jail. He deserves it. He deserves it. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. You're having sex with children. You deserve it. You deserve to be in jail. So to say that the homosexual the community is going to leave him, no. There are some gay people on my Facebook page who are like, no, I'm down with Jesse. That's my dude.
Yeah.
Are they
messed up.
holding him this time around for child endangerment or child molestation or anything?
They should put him right next to Bill Cosby.
I'm just curious. Is this new time that he's being incarcerated? Is it for that reason?
Oh, Bill.
Oh, we're gonna do Bill now? Like, Isn't it strange? I just feel like one thing is that like we've got to analyze that POC get treated so differently. I'm not saying that what people are doing are right. I'm not saying that, but the outcome is drastically different. Like in all of these things.
Well, the opposition just uses time to their sides because this is shit that they've always known for years. What they do is they pull that card when the shit get heavy on, and it's always around politicals.
Yeah.
When some political bullshit is going on and they want to cover it up, what do? They throw a black person up under the bus.
Right.
That shit has already been out there that they have said whatever. Then they put them out there because they get. It's all about changing.
Diversion.
Huh?
It's all about diversion.
It's a diversion. If
like
we can
magic.
get the people up on it, so now we're all on this, we done backed off on other stuff that we really should be worrying about and doing something about. No, we're too worried about this. That's why I said it's not that I'm unempathetic for these people who have done that, and I don't know much about it because I just don't connect to that stuff because I know what it does to me. I come from being molested as a child. That does something. That's a trigger for me. So anytime I hear that kind of things, and I have to be, I have to guard myself in a way where I'm not on the same level as other people because of my own things that I've been through. I have to separate that and say, okay, because the predators that predatorized us, they're still doing it.
We've been doing it.
Still doing it. Still to this day. This is something I know for a fact.
And ain't
And they're going to do it, but they got their time. I have forgiven them because judgment is upon them by God and not by me. And whatever he do with it, that's where I'm at with that. So that's the same thing with all these other people. Listen, they got their time. They might not serve here on this earth. Oh, but they got judgment.
It's coming.
All of us do.
Right.
And if all of us don't get to a point where we're concerned with what we're a part of, like the stuff that used to piss me off about everything that goes on in the world that I would be so irate about, I can pull back from it now because like now I can look at it and be like, you know what? Thank God that's not me.
Yeah.
That I don't think that way though. I don't do the thing. Not making me superior or better. It's just that I can only control me and I know exactly what I'm going to be a part of and what I'm not going to be a part of, just like we all do. Now we can sway, like somebody might be able to talk to you. But when you have your mind set on stuff, there's nothing that nobody can persuade you to do some shit that's just not in you. It has to be in you to do it.
Yeah.
And whether, so empathy, like when you were talking about giving person empathy about that. So that could backfire on you too. So you take this person in, they stole, because that situation could have been totally different. Because that person could have been reeling you in and stealing from you blind the whole time. You would have had a whole different story. I went to this person in confidence and told them, oh, I know you took that from me and blah, 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 blah.
We friends and
We
come on back
friends
to
and
the
come
house.
back and then they drop you blind
No,
again.
hang
You'd
on,
have
we
been
ain't
like,
doing all that.
you know what I'm saying? But it could have went that way.
It could have.
Because
grimy.
just because we have good intentions, that's not what the outcome always is.
No, just because you have.
So that
good
might have been
doesn't
his
mean you
intent,
do harm, right?
But it's doing him more harm than good.
Just
Don't
because
you
your
think-
intentions was right
so
doesn't
don't
mean
you
that you
think-
didn't do harm.
Exactly.
So don't you think if we're all frank right up front, cut a lot of that out? Because here's how I operate, and it's always been a good go-to for me. First, I have a wall, and there's tests. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna be cordial to you. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna joke with you, and I'm gonna let you put your foot in your mouth so I can gauge your character. Now, when you show me your character is bad, you're done, because I know if you have this character, things are gonna spawn off in time, and for me to do damage to myself because I allowed you in my space to do damage to me, that's on me. So right now, if I see your character is bad, boom, you're gone. Okay, hi, how you doing? We good? Stay your ass over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
cool. You can see me from afar, but you can't see me right here.
Well, to play devil's advocate.
Go ahead. Please do. Please do. Because I see that, but I also see a different thing too. So let's see what Scott
Here's the problem with that. So you're hanging out with somebody, and you're setting an expectation that they're never going to fulfill.
Oh.
I mean, you're
He's basically saying
That's
us
private,
humans
actually.
are jacked up.
you're kicking them out of your private circle, for something that they did one time.
Or they inevitably will do, because we're humans.
We are going to do that.
We're gonna jack
So yeah, I'm messing with you. But you can't. It's like you can't kick somebody out of your personal circle because that person might need you to be a good influence on them. So you're kicking them out of your personal circle and you're giving them no leeway to change your perspective on them. You're saying you got one chance with me, then you're done, and you're gonna judge them on that one mistake.
Dang,
and it's like, how could
burn.
How could you?
Burn.
I'm gonna explain it to you like this. 6 smokers in the room, we have 2 lighters.
25 lighters.
All right? Instead of this guy pulling out his lighter to light his stuff, he uses a lighter that's out. At the end of the day, after we're all high and not even thinking about what's going on, I'm gonna holler at you, I'm gonna holler at you, I'm gonna holler at you, everybody goes, okay, it's time to smoke. Hey.
He took the lighter.
Where's my lighter?
He took it.
I hit this person. You got my lighter? No, I ain't took your lighter. I hit this person. You got my lighter? No, I ain't took your lighter. I hit this person. You got my lighter? No, I ain't took your lighter. I hit this person. Yeah, I took your lighter. Oh, my bag, Doug. I got your lighter. Oh, I got 2 lighters. But a lot of times that person don't come back. And they're gone for 10, 12 days.
Right.
So I have to reimburse the lighter. And after a while, I've bought 400 lighters.
How many times have you used the pen and actually took off with it? Did you drive all the way back to the spot to give the pen back?
Actually, I make it a point not to pick up stuff.
But wait,
that's
hold on.
good character.
But see, here's the thing. If we're walking in Christ, that's not Christ-like, because if Christ did that to us,
back.
we would be done already. He'd be
Depending
like, you
on
know
how
what, I
far
already
away
helped you.
I'll walk back.
Now you got my lighter. You stole my lighter, so you on your own.
See, and well,
Hitler.
you lose people, and then you have
You
people
win
that
some,
are
you lose some.
Because look, everybody has a choice.
Once for
Yeah,
seasons.
like-
Some people walk in your life for a few seconds,
your life
minutes,
for
months, years.
I'll tell you,
whatever.
My philosophy is this: like, there's one person that will do wrong, I will cut them off just like you. No if, ands, or buts about it. Right, but that will be spiritually led. Then there will be somebody else that people will be like, why do you put up with that? And it will be spiritually led.
And that is true, because I have also come across where this person need help. No matter how messed up they are, no matter what they say, no matter what they do.
And you have grace for them.
You can see that, though. You could see it on them.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
you know, hey, what's up, dog? Let's go. Right, because we're connected like that.
Right.
We're connected like
Right.
that.
Like
but
spirits.
that one guy that's like,
Nope. And I
Well, you have discernment for that too.
Right.
yeah.
That's a discernment. That's a discernment that says you can feel if you're tuned into what you should and should not be, and that takes time. That's a process that takes purposely looking for that. That's not something you just, some people are very intuitive at a young age and some grow into it. But it's like, you got to know what's good for you, what's not good for you. And sometimes that's your experience. If you have experience with a certain type of person, naturally you're going to be like, no.
yeah.
This person remind me of such and such.
see the warning sign.
But then again, there's something that spiritual will lead you, because if that person keeps coming around in your life, then you're like, I don't know why. And you'll be like, oh Lord, I don't know why. This person, but for some reason, this person keeps coming in and out of my life. Now you have to look at it through a different lens or a different perspective and say, okay, I would say, Lord, what is this? Why does this person, is this person for me or am I
My
for them?
assignment.
Is this my assignment? Am I their assignment? You got to start asking those
usually
questions.
let
Why?
you know.
Jen, go ahead.
Right.
So bringing this kind of all back, what you say, I really feel that, right? And so it's like, when you mention all that self-reflection and being in tune with that, being able to discern, that requires a certain amount of connection with yourself and the people around you. But when you get into all these things where you have the collective talking about ganging up on people and moving with all this information and going with these ups and downs of emotion, oh, he did it, oh, we gonna all get on him, and oh no, they didn't do it, now we're over here. What does that do? It keeps you disconnected from that. So what we could all do is, if we disconnect and start going within, really getting that together.
High five.
Yeah,
that's what I said from the beginning.
The cherry on
then
top.
that actually moves everything forward, where all this, because you also mentioned, we've been fighting the same battles for years and years and years, and it hasn't changed, it hasn't gotten better. That's why.
Because
they can manipulate.
wrong.
It can manipulate the whole masses by throwing all these diversions in there, and then everybody's like, ooh, piece of candy, piece of candy, piece of candy, instead of being like, okay, I don't need that. Like we've already said, we don't need that because it keeps me off my focus. It keeps me from being able to keep that peace. What if the real battle is that peace within, and every time you give that energy to all this information just flowing through the internet, flowing through the neighborhood, wherever it is, word of mouth, you know, that takes a piece of your peace. And if you don't have that peace, you can't discern, you can't be prepared, you can't keep your power, you can't stand in your truth whenever you're all over here, you're putting all your everything and all this other stuff. So it comes down to that. It's like when everybody stops engaging and giving that momentum and giving that power, energy, then it's not going to work anymore, and they have to go to something else. Because you also mentioned the line and the manipulation kind of coming out of self-preservation in a way. It's like, I want this and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. And if that's a lie, then it's a lie. If it's not, if I find a way to do it without lying, then it's not. So if the collective says, I'm not engaging in that anymore, I'm not giving it power, I won't even talk about things on social media because I know the keywords are going to pick up on that and it feeds it. Those little keywords feed it. So I don't even engage online in most of these conversations unless it's face-to-face with someone I know, because it does give it power and it gives it momentum, and it takes me away from my peace and what I need to be focusing on, because we all know we could be doing something better with our time than talking about other people and whatever's going on in their life and whatever it is that's happening with them.
And putting them in the court of public opinion before they even had their due process, and even the process can be kind of janky even then too. But even before then, we're already doing that, you know? So we've only touched on Jussie. We haven't even touched on Michael. We haven't even touched on...
Don't talk about my boy Mike, man. Don't talk about my boy Mike.
We still get heated.
So Michael Jackson, I love Mike. I love Mike. I love Mike. I love Mike. Man in the Mirror is the greatest song ever made. Anyways, you have to understand, when we talk about the connection between Michael Jackson and Jussie, whatever his name is, when we talk about press, Michael Jackson, his publicist put out, with his permission, a lot of negative stories about Michael Jackson. A lot of them. Like that, just off the wall stuff, no pun intended. And the reason he did that, was because when he drops another album, I'm still talking about him.
Yeah.
So when he drops the album, I gotta go get it, because he's a hot topic. And celebrities to this day do that still. I mean, Brad Pitt and what's the other girl, and Jennifer Aniston have been reuniting for literally
10 years
decades.
now. Yes.
Literally.
About 10 years now.
And I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that because I've seen this story before. When I found out Kim Kardashian was pregnant, I was like, let me see that baby first, and then I'll believe that you're pregnant. Because it's gotten to the point where they have these publicists, People Magazine, and all these magazines you see at the grocery store that have these stories on them, and they're outlandish stories. So-and-so's corpse was found with a bullet in his jaw, which means, no, that doesn't mean anything. But if you keep this person relevant, whenever you drop something about them,
Then
there it is. I mean, it's a money-making machine. So being insulted, being embarrassed, being in the public eye, whether it's in positive light or a negative light, ultimately turns into dollar signs. So these celebrities could care less. I mean, we have some celebrities who have been caught having sex with underage girls. Rob Lowe. And do we even talk about it? Nope. Tim Allen went to jail for selling cocaine. Do we talk about it?
Nope.
No.
Got people who put... Well, shut
So
up,
Charlie
this
Sheen
whole
was getting
dressing
people-
situation.
Charlie Sheen was getting people AIDS.
behind, all kind of
All
stuff.
kinds
Do you
of
think we're
stuff.
going to be talking about Jesse in 10 years?
Nope.
This story that we're talking about?
Nope, it's
No,
not.
this is not even a blip on the radar. So when he drops his album or his movie, it will sell. He will make a lot of money off of it.
And then it'll
and
go
all
away.
this publicity, negative publicity, and whatever he paid in court fees will be well worth it. It was an investment. And we're paying attention to it.
Exactly.
Some of us.
Exactly. That's exactly.
The
Well,
majority of
I've
us
learned a lot
are paying
about
attention.
the
what's been going on
10%,
from
the
this
10% is not paying attention.
I'm wondering if that works for only a particular hue, but I'm trying to see for myself. If it works for Kanye, we'll see. I do think it makes you want to click on one song. I don't know if it makes you.
What?
No, you're probably gonna go listen to. You might go listen to it one time just to go see what he said, which is a lot of clicks, to be honest with you.
And a lot of publicity.
but then you might not jam it in front of your friends, so that can
Right.
be detrimental as
That
well.
Kanye album, I'm not gonna lie. I listen to it. I listen to every track on it.
But are you gonna listen to it in front of your
The reason
friends?
I listen to it in front of my friends because I don't care
I'm
about what
just
you
joking.
think. That if I was 25, I'd be like, I'm just like connect with it. But I'm not that anymore. So this publicity, what Mike did is to say Jesse is following in Michael
Wait,
Jackson's
you think that
footprint.
Mike put out there that he diddle-daddled little
Let me
kids
tell you,
for publicity?
I literally went through I would say probably a total of hours looking up what happened with him after he passed away. Seeing what was going on, seeing what's happening with his insurance company and paying his legal fees. I looked at that stuff. When you have a publicist and they ask you, hey, what do you want me to say? I say we're pregnant again.
Type it up.
Type it up. Okay, fine. That's why do you think nobody ever gets sued for slander? No one ever gets sued for slander because I allowed you to say that. I allowed you to say that so-and-so got caught cheating.
Yeah.
I gave that picture to you because if it was not true,
What if,
I would
it's
sue you for
what if it's a
slander.
magazine that is specifically known for false information or satire? Then maybe.
Well, if they're known for satire, then you can't be upset, because especially if they're known for satire, it will say, hey, this is satire, this is not true.
It's for entertainment
Well, like,
purposes.
for
what's the
entertainment
magazine
purposes.
that every once in a while there's a vampire baby?
What is it, National Enquirer?
So maybe it's like everybody knows these magazines. It's supposed to be that
They're
everybody
worse.
knows.
They're worse.
I don't
But
know.
that's
But still,
entertainment.
all of that stuff, all of those entities
Good point, Scott.
are to take you off of what you really should be doing with your own life. Entertainment. We should be able to entertain our own selves. We spend so much time entertaining ourselves with television and all these other entities that you don't. Then you're 70, 80 years old wishing that you would have did this, and this, and this, all these things that you had in you to do, but you wasted all this energy and time on watching what all these other people are doing, trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to do this and do that instead of just really getting within. The bottom line is, what is your damn purpose?
That's good, Dora.
Connecting with
What is
life.
your purpose? And until you get there, you're going to connect to all these different things, which pulls you away from what your true purpose. We all are living and breathing because we were born and created for a specific purpose.
That's good stuff. So Ms. Dora's saying some of y'all know more about celebrities than you know what's going
About
on.
their own
in
damn
life.
people in
And
their
if you
lives.
spent as
And
much
it's the truth.
time, if you spent as much time as you do studying the celebrities, you might have a business,
Yes.
a book,
Or you might be a celebrity yourself.
a radio.
Not even about being productive necessarily.
good, Dora.
It's not even necessarily about being productive, but knowing, because what if your purpose is really just to heal yourself and all the stuff that's
Right,
going on,
right.
so that you can raise all those blocks
Yeah.
out of you, and then stop a lot of these multi-generational behavior patterns and things that are causing all the uproar and causing and being able to be distracted. Is like you can't do all of that and be engaged with the, I'm gonna say, it's like the bipolarness of society
Society.
and the media, because if you're latched on,
Good.
there's gonna be one moment that you're excited, and then there's gonna be
Right.
one moment you're sad, and that's the reason I can't do it, because there's enough in my own life just without even engaging with people on a regular, just doing the stuff that I need to do. There's enough. What is the word? Anyway, there's enough of that to energize me or make me happy, make me sad. There's enough of that in my own life. I don't need everybody
fulfill
else's
you.
drama. Like, if I'm not even going to engage in the neighborhood drama, why am I going to engage in the state, national, world drama whenever I can spend that time? Like, I've gotten to the point where, that time, like, I don't have time for the other stuff,
Right.
really, because I want to do that work, and that really has helped me grow and be able to recognize
Yeah.
those opportunities for growth in ourselves, and then the discernment to help the other people around us, because that's the only thing that's gonna heal the bigger stuff that we see going on. Like,
Right.
everybody's like, oh, well, he should go to jail, or he needs therapy, or who's gonna reach out to him? Well, let's bring it back
Right.
closer, because there's people within our arm's reach that are going through those same things. But if we don't have ourselves right, then we're not going to do them any good anyway.
And something you were saying, Ms. Dora, which kind of goes into what you're saying as well, is that, you know, some of these issues, they trigger things. Like you said this, it triggers past things or whatever. And when that happens, you exhaust stuff inside. Like you exhaust adrenal glands, you exhaust certain things that will make you exhausted without even really knowing what is making you exhausted, because you just expended something and you didn't even expend it on your own life. So when you hear about maybe child molestation, it causes too much for you. You say, I don't even click on it because I'm not going to do that to myself.
Right. Yeah, like I didn't watch the R. Kelly thing. Why would I do that?
Right.
That's like that's like self-hate. Because I know what it's gonna do to me. Shit pisses me off. I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about a grown ass woman sleeping with no young boy.
Right.
That shit is outrageous to me.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about that.
Right.
But we talking about all these men that are molesting and raping females. What about all the damn women that rape and molested these men, that men don't even look at it as molestation because they was a young boy and a 16-year-old girl was having sex with him at 8 years old, because they looking at it like, the boy is looking at it like, oh man, I got what a, that spit on you?
No.
No, I'm just self-reflecting.
Yeah, that's true. Keep it real, though,
You know, I think a lot of times we do stuff for distractions, though. Like in life, let's be honest, if we just absorbed everything that was happening to us on our lives, we'd go crazy.
Yeah.
We do things for distraction. So whenever we talk about looking at these stories that are negative about other people, that's just a distraction. And that's just one form of distraction. And you take alcohol, you drink not because it's a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if
because one leads into the other, though, a lot of times.
it doesn't matter. Even crocheting.
Just pointing the finger at your person next to you is...
That's a distraction. It's a distraction from the reality. So let's be honest that none of us can take on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis. We can't do it. That's why we pay attention to these distractions. That's why we have television. That's why we have tabloids. That's why we have sports. That's why people use drugs, because we need to be distracted from a life that we can't handle.
And what you distract yourself with can be detrimental.
But no one can handle it all the time.
It takes endurance, and it takes facing it and making that choice every time, and then you build endurance, and then you can do it.
So when you
but
get
that's
upset,
a lie that you tell yourself, oh, we can't do it, and there's no one that can handle it all the time. But there's people that do handle it all the time because they've detached themselves from that. But you got to build endurance. It's not just going to happen overnight.
No,
you know?
but she detaches herself from child molestation. She refuses to do that because, and I can say that it's a form of distraction because she's not going to be distracted by this thing, but I'm sure she's distracted by something else.
Oh yeah, that's not the only thing. That was really just an example, but it was like, for me, I already knew what his story is about. So for me, why would I go? I never watched the video of with the 14-year-old girl.
Right.
First of all, I have 4 daughters.
Right.
I have 6 sisters. That does something to me on a personal level. I believe it still would have the same bearing, maybe not as intense, if we weren't molested. Because it doesn't set well with me with women. It doesn't set well with me. It doesn't set well with me when women do things to manipulate a man knowing that they're manipulating a man. That doesn't set well with me. There's different things in the world that's happening, but these are things that I harness my own self. These are things that are in me that we all have an ability to do, but you make the conscious choice not to be a part of it.
Right. And we exhaust you. Energy is probably one of our most important resources, what you give your energy to. And so when you give your energy to something like that, you are exhausting your stress reaction, right? And then we sometimes wonder, why do I feel like this? Why am I dragging it? Because you exhausted so much energy. And it's not to say don't pay attention to the woes of the world. It's not saying that either. But it also, on the same token, we got to monitor some things too at the same time, because she knows herself, she knows her triggers, and she knows her traumas. If she watches that might affect her playing on the field to help a kid, to help someone that God has put in her path to help, right?
It's gonna push that button.
Yeah.
And once that button is pushed, everything else is gonna suffer from that. And you know, we all have that, even including myself. My trigger right now is loud explosions because I went to Kuwait.
Really?
So loud explosions, and we got used to it. Boom, bam, loud explosions. But when I hear it now, because I'm 10 years out of the Marine Corps, when I hear it, I automatically go back to that time. And I automatically go back to, okay, seeing my Marine Corps brothers, some that got blown up by IEDs, seeing some Humvees that were blown up from IEDs, seeing some people killed, seeing a kid with a bomb strapped to it, seeing this stuff, but it didn't affect me at that point. I didn't get hurt, wasn't explode, didn't lose limbs, I didn't lose sleep. I was like, damn, that's messed up. But here I am today, and those are those triggers. So if somebody puts their hand on me, they're gonna get flipped.
Really?
Oh yes, it's that reaction. It's that, and it's not gonna go away. So I tell myself, okay, I know that if I get to that point, I can kill, and I won't even think about it.
Right.
I can do it. So I can't go to a bar and get drunk. I can't go to the hood and hang out in the hood and get and stay in the hood and get. I know I can't do it because one, I carry. So if some situations jump off, guess what? Somebody's gonna get killed.
Right.
And it's gonna be because I reverted back into that state. So in order for me to not damage myself, going to jail, killing somebody, having guilt feelings, I have to take myself out of those situations, period, point blank. And I have to know that if I do go to a club, I can't drink.
Yeah. Mental note to self. Do not put arm on Slice's. Do not put hand on Slice's arm. Got it? Duly noted.
And
I'm sorry you went
there's
through
the
that,
flip
though.
side, because people who do know people like that,
Yeah.
they can. Some of them see, and some of them don't.
Yeah.
My last girlfriend ignored that fact. And I kept telling her, look, baby, look. There are certain things you can't do because you will get hurt. And I'm not trying to hurt you on purpose, but it's just a natural reaction.
Right.
And she tested it.
No. Like, if you tickle me, I will punch you in the nose. Like, real talk.
Okay.
Or real talk.
So now that you've given that warning,
Duly noted.
He's gonna really want to test that.
yeah, right.
And I won't even be able to help myself. I really won't be able to help myself.
So you understand.
Yeah.
So now that you've given us that trigger, okay, if we get punched in the nose for tickling,
It's your
that's not
fault.
our own fault,
Because
right?
it's serious.
But why would I want to put you through like that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Friends, when you tell a friend, like, I don't like it when you do this, and that person does that, that's not your friend. Like, I even like small things. If I tell somebody, please don't do this, and they do it, I make a mark next to your name.
I'm being honest.
You'll never know it.
If Doc tells me not to do something, I'm doing it as soon as possible.
Well, that's God. I mean, when you have a relationship with certain people, you know what you really
Right.
can and cannot do when they say that.
I used to
That's
feel
your
that way.
family.
I used to feel that way, but I think that there's layers to it. You know, there's layers to it, and I've learned how to grow through that, because there's some people that just don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't get it because that's their behavior pattern. That's what they grew up doing. They grew up in a circumstance that say, don't do it, you do it.
Push 'em
Yeah.
back.
Don't do it, do it.
But I can't
don't
be
do it,
friends
do
with
it.
people like that.
And,
Ugh.
At all.
and so,
It's hard.
but the thing is, though, is we know that might not be the best way for that person
Right.
to go through life. So how else are they gonna? How would that behavior? In what circumstance would that behavior pattern change for that person that learned that as a child and is now doing that in
Yeah,
adulthood?
for real.
What is the scenario?
Consequences.
Yeah.
What is it?
Like,
But do consequences
she
really work
learned
like that,
She
though?
learned that
I bet she never did again. Huh?
when you're in there, I'm in there brushing my teeth.
Don't run up on man.
She comes up there, and I didn't see her because I had my head down. I was brushing my teeth. She came up, hey, and I flipped her, bam, right into the mirror. And she was cut up. From then on, hey, I'm coming into the bathroom. From then
Duly
on.
noted.
But then our relationship declined because now she was
Feeling
she was
unsafe.
scared to engage
Yeah.
with me because of that incident.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, when somebody tests that one time, and they cross that line one
Yeah.
time, I have to cut them out.
There are two things that I want. My first three things. There's two things for sure. Three things, and the inclination is to cut them off straight off the bat. One is like if I tell you, you know, I don't like this, and you keep doing it on purpose, my inclination is to cut you. Only God can bring you back from that. And then the other is something that we were talking about earlier. I think one is that, like, I don't care, like, if it was a birthday party and you didn't show up, I don't care if it was a dinner party and you didn't show up, but if it was like business or something serious and you didn't show up, my inclination is to want to cut them, but God will be like, I tell you who you'll cut. That was the other one. But there's one more. Shoot. I forgot it. Okay, who cares? So you really don't think Michael Jackson, like, you really think that he did that on purpose? Like, you really think that he put that propaganda out there himself? Publicist, really?
Publicist.
You don't make that much money without a publicist.
You really don't. You have to have someone out there who is going to write your narrative.
Why would you want that stain on your name?
Because it doesn't matter.
Especially
it would matter.
And you know it. Well,
but it doesn't
history
matter.
tells you that there's been a lot of people who did some horrible shit.
That we don't talk about. We don't even talk
That
about
is
it.
just
You would want your
under the rug like it never did happen.
You would want your legacy to be that you dilly-dally
That's the
little
thing.
kids.
Your legacy, that will not be
Did it
in
stop
your
any record
legacy.
sales?
We talk about your highest of highs. That's what we talk about.
And
Did it stop any videos?
Because it was the evidence came out that well
Well, now they got people coming. Now that he's dead, they're coming right back, right?
Yeah.
Ain't there something you just read about that?
right.
Yeah.
But I think that they're
didn't read
saying
it, I
that
seen
the
it.
same people had said that he didn't do that, and now they're coming back saying that he did do that. All I'm saying is that they don't really care about us.
Right. Here's my point. Did we talk about Michael Jordan's gambling problem?
Nope.
I didn't even know Michael Jordan had a gambling problem.
Exactly.
And who cares?
I've heard about it.
But gambling problem, really?
Yes, seriously. There's,
But
since
who
you like
cares?
conspiracies,
All right.
there's a conspiracy that the people who killed his father were people that he owed money to,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
and that he was forced to quit
What
basketball.
a thing to live with in your heart.
But
Oh,
you
that's
can't come out and
insane.
say that. No, people's legacy, that doesn't matter. When somebody dies, we think about the best times. We don't talk about the bad times.
Whitney
we talk about
Houston.
the best. We talk about Whitney Houston. I'm going to tell you something.
But these are things you inflict on yourself. When you inflict a pain
profit.
on yourself, it's different than inflicting something like on a kid.
And you can put that dollar right on that wound and let that dollar
Heal
just
it right up.
Heal it right up.
$2.
It almost has neosporin in it. If I know that I can make $1 million by doing something outrageous, even embarrassing,
That's different than dilly-dallying
Because
children.
those people are more worried about the rewards of this world than the one
That's
that's waiting
true.
for
That
them.
is
and what comes with
Woo,
money?
I got chills.
But what comes with money?
That's the bottom line.
What do you get with money?
Power.
Power. And it is
And it's a false power. That's the problem.
Well, it's a false power, but people who bend to that power that make it real. So
Yeah.
we can say it's false, no, but that is real.
Yeah.
Because
You
I can
let-
throw
I don't
100
want it.
ones to a stripper and she gonna do
He's
everything.
powerful.
She gonna
And
do
he's
anything I
powerful.
want. But then I can go to a bar and buy one girl 100 drinks and she be like, thanks for the drinks, bye.
Power without money is nothing. Money and power, they go together. You can almost never have one without the other.
And that's why it says in the word that a rich man will not enter into the gates of heaven.
harder.
It'll be like a camel going through the eye of a needle.
It's that
That is
hard.
a great.
Feet to even try.
That's it.
That means
you're not
that
getting-
means how hard it
you're not
is
getting
for a
through.
man
You're
to
not
get into
getting through,
heaven.
right.
That's because he has all that stuff.
You were born with nothing. You should die with nothing.
I mean, but don't
do.
you? You die with nothing. But the point is, these people who are coming up with these stories, they're doing it not because they're bored. There's profit behind it.
Right.
The reason that these clothing lines come out with these nooses and stuff, they know that's wrong. Come on now. Nobody has to tell them that that's wrong. But when we share that on Facebook, that is
Guess
free publicity.
But nobody
maybe
will
you
wear
won't
that
buy-
ever
Right.
again.
No, you won't wear
Unless
that,
you're a
but
white
you'll buy their
person.
other products. Because
let's not even
you'll go
fool
into the other
ourselves.
products.
Let's not
No.
even kid ourselves.
Like I will
It's-
never wear anything
This
Burberry.
is
Well, I never wore
the
Burberry
second
anyway.
go around of this that I've seen in my lifetime. And I first saw this in the early 70s. That same little monkey, that same noose, I've seen that already. This is not the first time.
It makes money.
And then when they put it out, Floyd Money Mayweather went right into Gucci and bought $40,000 worth of Gucci. He
So
said,
what y'all saying is money talking bullshit? Wow.
exactly.
Money.
Well,
you
I'm
live
depressed.
in a capitalistic
On Earth.
Which is a great example of like what happens to
You see?
everybody on
Yeah.
the bigger collective.
That's
when-
how it happens. Let's take Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby got to a point where he had money and wanted to acquire something. And since they were like, no, we can't let you have this, they assassinated his character.
His character was available to be assassinated because he has skeletons in his closet.
Everybody does.
But I don't have those kind of
well,
skeletons.
but you're not trying to buy NBC, are you?
Even if I was, I'm not trying to have those kind.
Was Bill set up? Yes or no?
No,
He set himself
he
up.
set himself up.
You know why he set himself up? You know not to go do stuff like that.
Do stuff like what?
Drug women and rape them.
But didn't this is the thing.
Thank you. That's
I'm just
wrong.
curious. Did this they were like,
That's
take
one.
these two.
That's just
Take these. Would you take 2 pills from Bill Cosby with his track record? Like,
No,
if Bill Cosby
no.
offered you 2 pills, I'm
No,
just saying, like, would
no.
you? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that. I'm not making excuses for Bill.
No,
Well,
no.
what I'm saying is that sometimes things seem a little suspicious to me. But I think y'all are right. He set himself up because he had a conspicuous past.
You have to know.
He did
You
stuff in
have
his
to be.
past.
You have to be aware of the room. I know as a black man, there are certain things that I cannot do,
Yeah.
and it's not even legal or illegal. I know personally that when I'm in the grocery store line, that I need to have a little bit of space between me and that little old lady right there in front of me. I know I need to have that space. You don't have to tell me that, and it's not illegal for me to be close to that person. But I know that society says that I don't need to be that close to the person. I can't go down the street and pick up, you know, a 13-year-old white girl walking down the street because she needs a ride because she looks like she's tired. I can't do that.
Yeah.
He's
That's
going to
not
jail.
allowed.
He's going to jail.
There's a reason when that girl who got kidnapped saw that black guy out in the street and she ran towards him saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I saw you." She was so desperate that any face she saw, she would, and people were like, "Oh, that little white girl running over here, this black man." Like, we were joking about it. That was a joke. We were actively joking about that because society says you don't do that. When you laugh at something, you only laugh at it for 2 reasons: because it's shocking or because it's true.
Yeah.
You can relate.
You can relate.
So when that little girl ran to that black guy, we laughed because that's shocking, and we know that it's true that it shouldn't happen.
Or society said it.
Society says that it shouldn't. So Bill should have known that if I ever get caught doing this, they are throwing the book at me.
And they did.
And they did.
But I don't know. There's some things like I just don't. Yeah.
Because
Don't set yourself up.
Because he had a different hue. He can't do what Harvey Weinstein did.
Who is not in jail.
He can't do what Roman Polanski
I mean,
did.
shoot, Brock, that white boy got caught like actually
What's his
doing
name on
it.
The kid from
Morning
Baylor.
America?
The kid from Baylor who raped that girl. No jail time.
Yeah.
The police officers, they killed that black kid in the backyard when he was barbecuing.
No jail time.
No jail time, because it is socially acceptable. It has always been since 1619 legal to murder a minority at the hands of a white person and not get jail time. That has always been acceptable, socially acceptable, always. It has never been socially acceptable for brown people to fight for their rights.
We're up
You have to know the temperature in the room.
and
off that.
surrounded. Okay. We
You
can go-
digress?
We can go
Little
on for
bit.
days and days.
Just a little bit.
I got a whole lot on that topic. You
I
have to
am
bring me
not
back.
having no marches for no R. Kelly, no Bill Cosby. I'm not marching for you.
Wrong is wrong. And
Wrong is
right.
wrong, man. I'm sorry.
Right
You
is
did
right.
that. And you should have known
You
better.
know, I have 4 daughters. Let anybody do them anything to them, that they come to me and they say I felt I was violated. I'm going to jail. I'm getting the death penalty. It's gonna happen because I feel like, as a man, you know right from wrong. As a woman, you know right from wrong. If you choose to cross that line, you get what you deserve.
I don't trust
you
nobody,
get
man.
what you deserve.
I
And
just don't
even,
trust
with a
nobody.
statement like that, and that's a true statement because that's the way I feel, but even with that, with manipulation in people, no matter what age they are, a child could take that statement right there, knowing, and she might be like have a crush on a guy.
And they do.
Right.
And will go there because you got.
And
I
they
think that
do.
women ought to go to prison just like the ones who make false allegations.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ask need to go to jail.
Oh, they need to go to jail.
They need to
for
go to
us.
jail.
Putting
We
on
need
the
to make
temperature in
that.
the room.
But they don't.
Let's see, and that's a touchy subject.
If Bill Cosby offers me pills and you take it, there's something janky a little bit going on there. Like you can't tell me nothing.
Well,
like
if anybody offer
Bill,
you
but not
pills,
anybody, yeah, but
right?
Bill, like if Bill with all the history that he has at that point, like it wasn't the first time he had been accused of that. Like it had been accused of 1, 2, 3, 4, like it had been, and he offers you pills. There's something weird about it. Still.
What? That they admired him and they wanted to go along with what was going to go on, and that was a way out. To if I take this, it's going to make it like I didn't do it under my own.
Inhibition.
Just like people who go out and get drunk and do frivolous
I
things
see what you're saying.
and all of that, they do it,
Their
and that's the
inhibitions gone.
covering is I was drunk, I didn't even know.
You knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You knew what you was doing. You knew when you knew because you knew if you had any experience before that what it does to you.
Right.
So you're gonna use it to your advantage so you can take the. See, this is the thing. People can't deal with their own damn guilt.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why it's so easy to point fingers
Come
at other
on, Dora.
people.
That's what
Your own
come
guilt.
on.
I think it goes past guilt. I like that, but I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
People can't deal with their own flaws.
Flaws, guilt, shame, their own truth. Everybody want to talk about let's be 100. The average person,
It's only 50.
the average person can't digest or accept 20% of the damn truth.
Right. Especially
From
about
anybody,
themselves.
not even themselves. That's why we mask and lie to ourselves about the shit and try to portray ourselves to be something that we're not. To all people that are so fucking I said the F
Yeah,
bomb.
it happens sometimes.
Insignificant.
Yeah.
We're always trying to prove a point to insignificant ass people. People that don't mean nothing, but you will throw the people that should mean everything to
Right,
you.
yeah, under the bus.
You will sidestep every moral, every good positive thing. Like my kids used to get mad, but my son in particular, he said, you know what I hated about when we was growing up? That if we did get in trouble, you just got us right where we was. You did it right where you did it.
Yeah.
You act a fool out in the street, I'm whooping your ass in the street.
There you go.
Shout out to Curtis Cole.
But you know, it's like that, like you, I'm not gonna wait. So I told him, I said, what kind of mother or person, forget the mother, what kind of person would I have been? Let you do whatever you were doing, not say nothing to you at that time because I'm trying to save face for somebody else that means not a damn thing to me. They ain't bringing a piece of bread to the house to feed none of mine. But I'm gonna worry about what they think about, but I'm gonna let them go along the day until we get back. And then I'm saying I'm gonna whoop your ass for what you did. Now, and 9 times out of 10, they don't even recognize
Remember.
or realize what the hell they did.
Or remember.
So now it's
Yeah,
it's gonna be internalized, whether it's abuse or not, it's internalized as abuse because she waited such and such a time to whoop me.
Yeah.
I said, would you rather me have wait and then, in front of everybody else, sweetie, honey, baby, love, and this, but at home, I'm mother this and SOB and all this. I'm calling you everything and all of that when we're alone. But outside the world with everybody else, I'm trying to portray like I'm this Mother Teresa.
we
No,
got
I'm
this
not Mother
perfect-
Teresa. Where you mess up is where you getting your ass jacked up.
See? And
That's the bottom line.
That's the reality of the situation of calling people out right then and there. Because me as a person, if I mess up and you chastise me right there on the spot, then I'm already analyzing what I did wrong.
And process. Yes.
8 hours later, and you chastise me about something,
Get out of my face.
it's not going to register.
Especially with kids.
Right.
Especially
So
with kids.
we got to catch it, call it then.
Yeah, right.
But if you don't, hey,
But there are
I'm
sometimes,
gonna, well, that's situation.
my goddaughter is living
situation.
with me right now, right? And like, I'll ask her a question, and she'll just look at me like, right? And then I'll ask her again, and she'll be like, right? So I'm like, mental note to self. Then she'll come asking me for something, right? And I'll look at her, and she's asking me for something, and I'm looking at her, and then finally I go, and she knows. Am I petty?
No,
Wait, how old is that?
She's 8.
8? No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
That's a lesson.
That's when you should be happy.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
That's a lesson learned.
Good. I'm just
Yep.
trying to make
I
sure.
mean, it got to the point where all 4 of my girls, when they wanted something, when I talked to them and they didn't listen, I would say, "Oh, you're not paying attention? Okay." And I go off and I go get some snacks or something, and they'd hear it, just like our kids. As soon as you hear a bag rustling or something, they right to you. "Hey, we want one." "No, you want to listen to me before? Don't listen to me now." and ate, and they would learn. "Hey," but we taught them that lesson. Those are the lessons you have to teach our kids.
Yeah,
early.
I feel like children, I'm learning this, Dora. I feel like children, it's like dang near a Minecraft. I don't know, like it's like you're playing mind chess with a
the kids.
Smurf. Yes.
With a smart learning.
Yes.
Very adaptive.
And they'll
kid.
actually, I'm like, touche, you got me.
Right.
You know, I saw this thing, and it's
Crazy.
so true. Like, we spend our lives trying to raise the me out of our children. You know,
that's so beautiful.
and it's the
And
truth.
the DNA is there.
The DNA, like right now, as we speak, my son is in trouble. As we speak, he's in trouble right now.
Really, that
You know
makes me
this?
feel better, actually.
It makes you feel better.
Yeah,
He's in
because we're
trouble.
going through the most at my house.
Because, number one, because hey, he want to lie, and number two, because he don't want to listen to his teacher at school. But the point is, you have to teach your children what
You said
right
he
and
won't lie?
No, because he lied. He
I'm
want to
like,
lie.
damn, how you get in trouble for not
No,
lying?
no, he want to lie. But you have to teach our children what right and wrong. They know what wrong is. We're teaching them what right is.
Yes.
And then they can make the choice. With the oldest one, I used to tell her when she was 12, 13 years old, when she started, when they become, this is what I'm going to be, I was like, listen, you should probably do this. This is probably the best thing for you, but make your own decision.
That's a hard.
And that's how she would go about her business. She recently learned a lesson. I'm not going to put her business out there, but she recently learned a lesson. I'm like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that, but you need to do it because you need to make that mistake. Because if you don't make it now, it's going to make it later. So make the mistake now and then learn from it.
Yeah.
It is hard with children, man.
And all of us are nothing but
And you gotta let them live out their
grandchildren.
consequence too, because you
You have
can't
to.
tell them that and then turn
Save
around
them.
and try to rescue them.
yeah,
Because
that
you're
doesn't
just
work.
perpetuating something else in them. Then
They
it's
go
like,
back and do it. Oh.
Yeah, I'm learning that too. And at first, I used to explain
manipulators.
everything. I would explain everything at first because I remember when my mom would say, "Just because I said so," or any parent because I said, it bothered me. And now, after explaining 500,000 million
Now
single
you
times,
get it now.
I'm like, it's because I said.
and that's why back in that day, and that was sufficient, and that's what needed to be done.
So that's where I'm
because
at
it
now.
it was that.
Morally acceptable.
Because that's what I said.
Because that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
because
they will
that's-
literally ask you why, and then why to that, and then why to that, and
Why?
I
why.
tried it. I tried to say the reason why we can't do that. It doesn't work.
Well.
It doesn't work. And then
Because
they
you
might
need a
start
roof
crying
over
about
your
that.
head, because you want to eat
Right,
tomorrow,
right, right.
because you want to take a bath.
My dad say, because I pay
Right.
all the bills here,
Exactly.
you don't.
And then she always one-ups me. I don't know how she does it. She always one-ups me. For example,
Because she uses your love against you.
Yes,
Come on, now you didn't say that.
she didn't want to go to school, so she undid her hair, right? Like, she undid her hair. And here's the thing about it is that, like, so of course I'm gonna let her go to school looking like that,
For
right?
real?
But guess who's the one who's gonna catch the heat for it?
You.
For her hair looking like that.
Of course.
Who shouldn't give a damn?
Well,
should tell him.
see, if I was her real mama, that
did
probably
undid
wouldn't
it
be a problem.
outside.
But the fact people are judging her head, at least when I get there and her head is looking like that, I'm judging myself at that point. But I had to, so she would learn that just because you do that isn't going to keep you home from school. So I had to, like, let one of the braids be open, and I'm real specific about her hair. And I can do curls. I've watched Tiffany do, like, I can curl it with my finger and make it real pretty, but she doesn't like her own hair yet, and we're working on that too.
least
So
she
anyways,
got it.
now we got into family
I'm telling you.
politics that nobody wants to know about. I'm sure y'all are not watching Meeting the Minds. Well,
Somebody just
I'm
turned
going to
the
go ahead and, they're like, okay, this is...
I have an interest. What did you tell your son about lying, though? The importance of not lying.
Oh, I told him, listen, you need to tell the truth. I said, people are not going to respect you if you lie to them. If you tell somebody that you did it, they'll be. I'm not saying
Yeah.
they won't be upset, but at least they'll respect you
That's
for
so
telling the
true.
truth.
Yes.
That's so true.
I know I used to tell my kids, this is the thing. Whenever it comes into a time, and there will be a time that you will be pinned against somebody else, public scrutiny, somebody else saying that you did something, and me needing and wanting to believe that you are going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to know that. I don't want to be that one pinned up that I got to believe these other people opposed to you, or knowing right off
You
that
did it,
you did it
but I'm
because
defending you.
you're a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it comes down to that.
And it's going to come down to that. And I don't have a problem with saying that.
And her
You're a
kids
liar.
are pretty dynamic folks. Like, really, I know 2 of them. And
So, I mean, how can you defend somebody you know is going lies and does the devious things they got in trouble for?
And a lot of people do it because of their benefit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They'll sit by and go along with it because of the benefit that it's going to bring them to not say nothing. So it really all comes down to everybody's personal integrity.
Yes.
yeah.
What you want to be a part of, what you don't want to be a part of. That's what I believe. And putting yourself in every dynamic in our lives, we ought to be putting ourselves in that space. Before you form an opinion, you have to do that. It's a check and balance. Because if not, we're all
Opinionated.
mummies.
We're all opinionated.
Or like, what are we? Like, you got a mind to think. If you're just gonna go along with what everybody's doing, that's ridiculous.
Going this way and then going that way, like you said, Jen. That was a great sum up. God's gift summed it up. And so we're going to go ahead and close out the show. I really enjoyed this conversation. Like, I haven't had a good one like this in a hot minute where it was just like, maybe I've been hanging out with kids, but this was like a grown conversation right here.
You with the real grown folks
I
today.
really needed it. I really needed it. Well, I hope you got something out of watching this meeting of the minds. Thank you so much for watching. I would like to thank B-Print, our sponsor for our website, meetingoftheminds.com. That's with the Z. I also would like to thank Syntex Guns, the only black gun-owned store in Texas. And I also would like to thank Beautiful Solutions for all of their beautiful solutions. So thank you so much for watching another meeting of the minds, and we will see you next time.
Intellectually engaging to think outside the lines with conversation about the nation that never leaves you blind. Take a listen and pay attention. Here is where you find the educational, sensational meeting of the minds. Yeah, it's the meeting of the minds.